Nick Drossos or Nick Drossos or whatever, he did a video about it, and to be honest with you, I really don't think that's the proper way to do it. Using it as a flail, a little bit too unpredictable. I wouldn't do that in a street fight because it's just, you're really telegraphing when you're going to swing that thing. It's too easy to see what you're going to do. You know, all warfare is based on deception. My favorite way to use a belt as a weapon is to get it over their head and then get it around their neck. That's my favorite way to use it as a weapon, right? So using it as a flail, it's very hard for me to surprise attack you with a belt as a flail. It's way too telegraphed. It's way too easy to see what I'm trying to do. Whereas with this other method, it's particularly brutal, and it's game over for the person if you get that belt around their neck. There's not much they can do after that. This is the way you want your hands to look on the belt. You want to create space, you want him to not know what you're about to do, and then you want to scoop it over the head and do that all in one movement. So now you have control of the head and the neck. Once you have control of the head and the neck, that's a good time to throw an elbow. And then you can walk this way, and then you can go under the arm, and then now you got him by the neck, and you got him by the arm. And then what you can do from there is you can take him down entirely. You can take his whole body down from there. The belt has so much more capability as a restraint than a flail. Why would you use the belt? Why would you use the belt as a flail when you can use it as a restraint? You got to have the proper belt to pull this off, and that's why this type of belt right here, like the 511 TDU belts, is my favorite belt for that. I don't like the Cobra Riggers belts. I don't like those. I like these. These are the best for that. And because the buckle is a strong metal, they won't break when you throw it around somebody. Just as a recap, make sure you guys can see what I'm doing. I like to put my index finger right here. That's where I like to keep my index finger. You put your index finger in the center of the belt, right? And then I like to keep the lasso somewhat large, but not too large. But you do want a little bit of error room because, like, you're going to be in a stressful situation, and this thing has to go around the person's head. So as big of a loop as possible is good. What you have to do is you have to quickly do that, and you might have to shift a little bit. You might have to, you know, wrestle a little bit, but the natural position the belt is going to fall is this way. Once you're in this position, you pull back and you just release that finger, and then you got him. If you do this from behind, you can literally guide the belt like that. The reason you can't do that from the front is if you do this, then you're going to telegraph what you're doing. So the only reason you should do that is if you're coming from the side or if you're coming from behind him. You holding this second part right here is telegraphing your intentions. You're letting him know what you're trying to do. You don't want to do that. You don't want him to see it coming. Another way it could be done is keeping this thumb here. The reason this alternative strategy is good is because you can also punch and then do that. It may be a good idea to try to stun your opponent and then use that extra time to put the belt around his neck. Stunning your opponent with a hammer fist or an elbow is a great way to buy time to get the belt around their neck. If you're encountering resistance from him while you're pulling the belt, you can throw the elbow back at him. Elbows while he's rapidly losing oxygen is not going to be fun for him. Your goal is ultimately to move behind him, to get control over him. I've had a lot of commenters say that if you listen to my advice, my self-defense advice is going to get you in jail. It could, bro. I don't know your local laws. I don't know where you live. If you live in the United Kingdom, you'll probably go to jail anyway, no matter what you do. I don't know, bro. I'm not a politician. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. I know how to win a fight. I know dirty ways to get the upper hand on people. I know how to use everyday objects and items to get the upper hand on people and to win fights by any means necessary. That's the information I teach. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a politician. I'm none of those things, right? So I can't tell you what's legal or illegal in your area. I don't know. You know, I have a global audience. I don't know your local laws. The cool thing about a belt is pretty much anywhere in the world you go, there's no law saying you can't have like a certain kind of belt. Unless you literally live in North Korea or something, you'd be hard-pressed to find a country that tells you what belt you're allowed to wear, okay? I know I got like a younger audience. A great way to trick your mom into buying you a weapon is tell her you need a belt. Tell her, yeah, you know, I really like the... if your pants are sagging while you're fighting, you know, again, keep that in mind. You know, that's the biggest reason you need a belt. You could look at this as counterterrorism advice, because this is an excellent way to restrain an active shooter or something like that, is throwing a belt around their neck while somebody else goes for the rifle, whatever. I'm not responsible for how people use this advice, okay? If you use this advice irresponsibly, there will be consequences for that. So make sure you use this advice responsibly. That being said, information is information. You have the right to have it. And guys, I appreciate you watching this. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching. Share this video with your friends if you think it's useful information. Jordan Jareb, signing off.